I'm always fascinated when someone doesn't have to use so much muscles and so much raw power to try to overpower someone else. Because that, if you look at Krav Maga, that's how we were trained. We're trained to think like soldiers, to train like soldiers. So it's heavy, heavy, heavy lifting, pushing, hard endurance, always go, go, go.
Like how do you keep yourself like open-minded? You okay with like new ideas? Because some people, let's say, because you said that some people like love more art than others, right? Let's say I love Wing Chun, so if you give me Sing Yi or if you give me like kickboxing, I don't like that. I want Wing Chun. A lot of people it's like that, right? So how can you keep yourself like really open-minded and then get all of these new ideas to play with? Yeah.
The number one thing that comes to my mind is I am dead honest with myself, and I tell myself every day, I'm not perfect at anything, even Krav Maga, even any martial art anything I do in life. I know I'm not perfect, and I know that there's someone else out there that has better skill than me, that has better knowledge, has better application. But if I come into a room and I think, oh, I already know this stuff, which I've done before. Like I'll always compare my 20s to my 40s because I was a very different person back then. In my 20s, I always walked into places, environments, thinking I know stuff, and I didn't learn nothing because I'm too close-minded. So regarding your question, in order for me to learn a lot, especially when I come to a place like Wing Chun, I have to come in and pretend that I'm mentally like a baby in this arena. Not in life, but just when it comes to martial arts, self-defense. And it's because one of my old coaches told me years ago, he said, if you'll just be an open book and pretend you don't know anything, you will learn 10 times more compared to someone else who walks in there thinking, I already know some of this and some of that. And it's because the moment we tell our brains, I know this already, the learning ability just shrinks. Mentally, like the neurons in the brain that actually fire off for learning, they minimize. So then he asked me, you've got to ask yourself, Allan, what are you doing here? Are you here just to learn a little, or are you here to learn everything you possibly can? And the people who I've noticed who come with that mentality, they're the ones that we look up to. All the high-level guys, they don't, like even when Sifu Adam does his videos with some of his, like his coach, Steve Smith, you can see in the conversation, Sifu Adam he acts like a student. He just acts very open. Some of the concepts that he didn't, like I saw this one video where Sifu Steve Smith was doing a demonstration trying to talk about a block and changing the amount of force or energy applied to the arm. And Sifu Adam was like, no, I don't understand it. But he was so open to it that eventually he ended up picking up all that information because, in my opinion, of the fact that he was just so open to pretending he didn't know anything. So when I come into a room, I like, even when Sifu Adam asks us like throw a punch, I'll pretend I don't know how to throw a punch. I'll like throw it almost like uncertainly because I want to keep that mind frame of I will take whatever you give me. Once I get it, I'll try it for a couple of months. If it works for me, great, I've got something new. If it doesn't work, I'll ask. If it still doesn't work, I'll throw it out mentally, right? That's the shopping cart method.
That I totally agree with that. And you know, because the reason why I asked this is because, you know, if you look at YouTube now, right, there's so many master, and then everyone got like master something, master A, Sifu B, right? And then when I look at them moving, there's like they not. I'm sorry to offend somebody. I'm not pointing fingers, but I saw when they move, they're not actually that good, but they're so desperate to tell you how good their art is. There's like, let me tell you how good my art is. It's all about myself. You're here to study me. I don't study anyone, right? And when I look up to somebody like Bruce Lee, right? He's like I'm a student, I'm a beginner. Don't call me master. Right. Until the day where you lay the final nail to my coffin, you can call me master. I'm like, wow, that kind of mentality. And then like Bruce, right? He kicked a bag like 300 pounds, like fly across the room.
And
then
I saw that video.
Yeah, and then he tell you, okay, I'm about to move, and then he boom, and then you cannot you cannot doing this. There's no moving around. It's just like boom, and then you get hit, and then you're on the ground, right?
Right.
And then that guy still like, show me what you got, right? So that's why sometimes I really like that part of your personality, right? The part where you coming up and it's just like, every time I train with you, I never have a feeling like I train with a Krav Maga instructor. It's always like a beginner, right? Like we all come there to train, and then we all like, Sifu, how can I do it? And then it's just like basic techniques, right?
Right.
Yeah, that part is, I never afraid of being beginners. I just love being beginners.
Especially in a room where everybody's willing to be. There's no ego. There's no baloney. No one's there to try to beat each other. I mean, that we've been lucky because the past 3 years that we've been training on those Sunday classes, the majority of people that are in there are like us. And because we have a room of men and sometimes women that just want to get better and better by helping each other. Like there's been so many times that you've helped me clean up my technique, and some of the other guys have done it, and it translates back. So I get better, and then I get a chance to give that back to you. It's like that old saying, steel sharpens steel. You can only get better with your same circle, with the same mindset. And that's why we've been so fortunate to keep improving without all the usual politics and ego that can sometimes come in a classroom.
Yeah, that's why I always enjoy to seeing you guys, training with you guys, a lot of fun. That's why I'm like, this time, like during COVID, like everyone depressed, right? You see a lot of hate, you see a lot of like, you know, like looting, a lot of riot, right? But we Kung Fu people, we train to kill. But for some reason, we always meet up, hang out, laughing and training, right? And then we always laugh. There's no hate in us, right? Even though we train the art of killing, right? Sometimes, it doesn't make sense, but
But I think the application, I mean, anything that you do, it's like a gun, it's like a knife. There's always an ability for that tool to be used to kill. It can also be used just for enjoyment, like guys that have guns, they go to the range. And then sometimes they have to use it, depending on your country, of course, for defense, for self-defense, right? True. So I look at Wing Chun as also a tool. How you use that tool is up to you. And as long as you are a responsible person, then you're not always using it as a tool to like hurt someone or kill someone, but instead use it as just a part of your life.
Oh, that's true. I remember when stay back at like 2 years ago when I first started in Adam class, right? I'm full of arrogance, right? Because I'm black belt in karate. I'm trained karate for 8 years. I'm beating up the guy same size as me, like bigger than me. I can still beat him up, right? I'm like, I come in there and like this, and then he's like, I give you the piece of wood. What you gonna do about it? I'm like, I came here for the product. I don't came here for like a material, right? So, but then a couple of years later, after training with him, I'm like, oh, I understand what you mean. So now with the wood, I can build a chair, I can build a house, I can build a spear, I can do whatever, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of deep.
That's super deep. I like that.
That enlightened me a lot.
It's amazing.
Right. All right. Thank you for this episode, for the interview. And then we're gonna go into the topic 2 later, right? About specifically in like self-defense. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.